Hello, everybody. My name is Katie Gilly. I'm one of the elementary school counselors here in Gagetown. That's Mike Sophia. She's one of our high school counselors. We're really running the event for you guys tonight. So we have Julia Stefani. She's the Associate Director for Community Services here with us on the right. And we have Joshua Chan. He's the Admissions Recruitment Advisor from SUNY. This is going to be a really important event for you guys. I know a lot of people asked about handouts. At the end, there will be a QR code that they'll have on the screen. You'll be able to scan it with your phone, and everything will come up on your phone. So you'll be able to get all the information digitally. So without further ado, Joshua Chan.
Hello, thank you everyone. So yeah, next we'll have some handouts. I'm actually going to have a QR code in the beginning and at the end, so that people didn't forget, like I possibly would, take a look to it since we can get it. So thank you guys all for coming tonight and for having me. We also have one of the additional recruiter advisors here at the local center. We also have Jennifer Trujillo and Moreno. They are both also recruiter advisors here to get the work of the city. We also have our amazing Julietta, who's the champion for at our city. So thank you guys again for having me today. So we're going to be talking about a general overview of what the student system is like. If you guys don't know what the student system is, it's the University of New York. We're a collection of 64 public campuses, the biggest public university in the entire nation. So these are some of just the photos of the flags here. So now is the time to get the QR code. If you would like to scan that QR code on your phone, or you can get a picture of the QR code, you can tap it, it'll take you to the link, and you can fill out more information. I'm going to give you a general overview of what specific college information you can request that. Right? You also get it at the end, so don't worry, you get it now. Oh.
When you take a photo, you should be able to scan it later.
Take a photo and go back to the photo app, wherever the photo is at, and hold it on the photo, hold it the picture, it'll take you hyperlink it later. That's good for you guys. So, as I mentioned, we're a collection of 64 public colleges across the state. These are just every single dot you see here is a college located somewhere in New York. Pretty much anywhere within New York where we live, we're 30 minutes around average. One of our cities, whether that's in community college, university system, university center, etc. So, who is SUNY? What is SUNY? How it benefits students? Well, just a little bit about us. 64 individualized public college campuses. I'm going to say that a lot. 400,000 students. This means you have a different collection of ideas about each other, right? Thousands of students in different institutions. But I want to highlight in particular 3 million, right? This 3 million alumni number is important because these are those people who can give back to students to where they are here. For example, I graduated from the University of Albany. I graduated with a degree in political science and minor in public policy. What does that mean? I wasted my time. But I didn't become a lawyer yet. But I'm an alumni, so students are interested in going to politics, are interested in learning about public affairs, right? Also, students who go to university institutions, they can speak to their career center, and get in touch with, some of the alumni of the past. So people who graduated in big institutions, working at Fortune 500 companies, they can possibly get stuff, not just the ability, but also to their career center, and see where they're at in their career, right? Because speaking as alumni, not only to in touch with a network, but also see if you're interested in, extending that career. It's something to know, especially how big we are. So, our 4 pillars: diversity, equity, inclusion, student success, economic development, upward mobility, research, and scholarship. I like to highlight upward mobility and economic development and student success, particularly for a couple of reasons. So, I come from a South Suburb of New York, and without a student degree, I would be here, right? A lot of college degrees are unattainable for students. Many reasons. They don't want to go away, economic reasons, too much money. Here it's affordable at student, right? Not only is it affordable, it's flexible, it has student, right? Student success, that's a big point. At SUNY, right, because we're so flexible with our students, you work part-time, full-time, you don't like the campus, you can transfer to different other campus, right? You don't have to stay at your institution if it's not for a week. But we want to make sure every SUNY, any SUNY attendant is, we want to make sure we find the right fit for each individual student. And I'm going to be speaking about that in a second here. So, how are we going to help students find their SUNY? What is SUNY for them? Why is it? 5,000 undergraduate programs. What does that mean, right? Pretty much all that is saying is that we have every single program you can think of. Anything you want to study, anything you want to put your mind to, anything to get the kids out of the house, we have a degree for you. Our most unique program here that I'd like to mention is SUNY Canton, school upstate, pretty much closer to near Canada. I have a program called Workday Services, which the program where you learn how to run a funeral home, which is like free money to go anyway. But it's a program that we have unique here. If you want to learn how to run a golf course management, we have it there as well. I'm just stating a couple programs, but there's a lot of other unique programs out there, right? SUNY also has its own as a law school at the University of Buffalo. So if you want to go to law, and one goes to law school at SUNY, right? We have hospitals upstate, downstate, offer amazing degrees in bioethics and board. I also wanted to mention the transfer paths. I mentioned earlier how flexible it is. Let's say one student doesn't like the school they're at for the first year, they want to transfer to another SUNY school. They can do that. For 64 campuses, one system, they can transfer pretty much almost seamlessly between all the colleges, and their credits won't really not apply to the degree as long as they're on track to graduation. So I know I mentioned the 64 campuses, so this is a breakdown of how they are designated: 14 university centers, 13 university colleges, 7 tech colleges, and 30 community colleges. So we're going to go through them and see, what they offer and how they can benefit students. So at our university center, we're going to schools like our competitive school like Binghamton University, University of Buffalo, where I went to, University of Albany, Sunbrook University, Polytechnic Institute. These are going to be our big schools, right? Up to 20,000 students looking to really get to that community of school, get to everything. We pretty much speak to anyone and everyone. These are what these schools for them. These are also R1 research institutions. What does it mean? It means if you're a kid, you're always going to ask me why. So we can find out why here. Really understand curiosity and be curious about the world. They're going to be working with high-ranking professors, world-class scientists, breakthroughs in whatever they're looking to find. These are also our D1 schools, right? These are schools with the highest ranking for athletic programs. So if you are interested, you're interested, or you're interested in the sport, professionally, possibly getting recruitment, these are going to be schools for you. Not all of our schools offer the same D1 sports, so just keep that in mind when looking at doing research in schools. And you do not get a PhD if you want to go to these schools. University of Albany and the University Center have not get a PhD. So if you don't want to get a PhD, you just go for 4 years. University colleges. So at these colleges, the highest degree you can obtain is a master's degree. These are going to be schools in Westbury, we're here, and we're SUNY Fredonia, and we're SUNY Portland. Schools are 4-year institutions. These are going to be smaller institutions, not the smallest, but smaller institutions. The students are looking to get a college town feel, where they're looking at a city really pretty much built around the school, and going to schools for them. Old Westbury has unique programs like different language degrees and whatnot. So these are going to be smaller schools, but very great schools if you're looking for a smaller class setting, or smaller college setting. Tech colleges. So if there's 6 students in the room, how many of you guys take video? He's only just not shy. Got it. So if you're a student or your student doesn't like reading, let's live our technology colleges. These are more kids as hands-on learners, where they're going to go into engineering, electrical engineering, HVAC, for example. These are going to school schools. For example, Alfred State University. It'll also be like Farmingdale. Farmingdale is the only city school that offers a pilot program. Allows you to become pilot, understand mechanical engineering at Farmingdale. These are schools that cater to those who are interested in the field. This is not necessarily going to happen in engineering. We also have veterinary science and some of these schools, but all of them are more hands-on learning, and at all degree levels. Some of them will be associates, some of them will be bachelorettes. So just something to think about. Community colleges. So you guys may know about community college. We have our community college here in Suffolk County, Suffolk County Community College. We have Nassau Community College. But we also have, for example, Orange County Community College. We also have Ulster Community College, and the Public Community College at the Valley Community College, for example, Connecticut Community College. The best thing about the most unique thing about our community college is that they are open enrollment. What does that mean? Essentially, that means that if a student wants to apply anytime throughout the year, they can do that. Certain programs at this community college have deadlines, so if they are, someone like me who's a procrastinator, get the deadline, this is because it's for them, right? They will always have to here. These also have certificate programs. If you're a student or you are a student who doesn't want to go get a degree, for example, you get a certificate program to do some welding or hands-on work, being an electrician, for example. If you want to do a 2-year degree, it's very competitive in healthcare, but not really dealing with people because people are crazy. You can do radiology, for example. Radiology can make up to sometimes $90,000 with a 2-year degree, and you can work in the healthcare field. So those are some of the things you can do here at our community colleges. Some of them do offer housing options, so if you are someone who wants to get away from your parents or get away from your children, send them to the community college. Some of them do have housing options to go far away, so they can still get right college here. So EOP. Has anyone here heard of EOP by any chance? No? So EOP, certain students may qualify for it. It helps build a playing field for students who are academically and economically studied. The income levels you can see here are straight across the board at all of our institutions. So to qualify for EOP, you must meet 2 guidelines. You must meet the academic guideline and the income guideline, which the income guideline is the same at all of our colleges. The academic guideline varies between each college. Not all colleges offer academic or eligibility to college for EOP, so definitely do your research on that. But it lowers the threshold in the sense that it helps them into college, right? If they are lower income and have lower grades, they can possibly enter college at a lower GPA level threshold. The students who get EOP also qualify for lots of free money, free individualized counseling support, one-on-one tutoring sessions. Basically, all the support they need to go to college. It's really good for students who might need the extra push, and there's also a summer aspect to it. So if students want to go, students that qualify for EOP go to EOP. They must go to school in the summer, get individualized support from the counselors to know what it's like to live on campus, to get understand the college life so they're ready for college when the semester begins. A7 and 8 is also similar program for students who want to make sure they graduate on time and are ready to possibly graduate even earlier, but graduate on time and keep on track for graduation. Same support system, some modified support, not tutoring for those students, support those measures. So internships and co-ops. But students here, do you guys know what internships are? Raise your hand. Okay, some of you don't. Got it. Okay, so internship. An internship is basically hands-on work in your field of study. You might be paid for it, might be unpaid, you might be college credit for it. Shameless plug, that's in the top left. So I interned with the, because I was a political science student, I interned with the New York State Assembly, New York State Legislature. So I was working with my local legislator up in Albany, helping, policy vote, whatever their policies are. I was able to do an executive chamber, I was able to see what the White House to speak about environmental policy. So that's some of the things you can do to internships. Internships are vast, internships are limitless, and you definitely have your child or your student here speak to your career office, wherever you're going, whatever school you're going to, in our system. They can help direct you to find an internship. You can also earn school credits for internships. My last year of schooling, the last time I was in a classroom was December 2020. Because my last semester from January, this January, I graduated in May. I only needed 6 credits to graduate, so I took an internship that was exactly 6 credits. You know, it was kind of just so I achieved my class. But I graduated and able to get internship credit. So that's something you can do. Other internships might require more wages, more hands-on work, which you're going to go into becoming a teacher. I went to intern at school. It's going to becoming a nurse. I went into becoming a scribe at a hospital, right? So these are some things to see if you're interested in the field of study, because you don't want like go into the field of study and then be like, wow, I hate it. So internships are a great way to get hands-on work before you actually do the workforce. Study abroad program. Who would like to leave the United States to travel? That's not how these are liars. Okay. So study abroad program. So obviously a lot of you guys know what study abroad is. Study abroad is an opportunity to get an education outside the United States. Leave the country, explore the culture. So the most unique thing about our study abroad program here at SUNY is that it goes back to the 64 campuses in one system. Let's say someone wants to study abroad in France, and they are studying. But Storybook is an offer program to study abroad in France, right? Well, because it goes back to the one system. They want to use another campus to study abroad program, they can apply an application and use another program to study abroad program to go to France. So if they don't have the Storybook, they can use Buffalo, for example, right? It all depends on what the program is, but they have the opportunity to do that. So it's pretty much limitless possibilities of where you can travel. One of my friends was able to study in France, Venice, Venice, and they were able to look at marine biology, how it's affected by the rise of sea level and warming climate. So that's just some of the things you can do at SUNY and just to break the limitless possibilities. Research and innovation. Has anyone heard of ChatGPT here? ChatGPT, right? So at SUNY, one thing we're trying to do to innovate is we're trying to build the most comprehensive, powerful AI system in the entire world. We're calling it SUNY AI. This is where the chancellor's initiatives and the SUNY address, state university address, and we're doing that by collecting data from all across our 64 campuses, right? Because we know that a lot of these college campuses have maybe 1 to 5, 10 campuses. We have 64. 64 times the ability to gather data Who remembers the orange smoke in the air a couple years ago, right? So at SUNY ESF, for example, we have professors and scientists in our institution over there at SUNY ESF trying to understand the effects of wildfire smoke in human bodies, trying to mitigate those effects. So that's what we're doing here for research and innovation. Upstate New York actually got a grant, a $2 billion grant, so that students working in, who go to school at Buffalo, Albany, Binghamton, can work with the next generation of semiconductor computers, right? So they help build the next generation chips, like all those. So that's just some of the things that we have are expecting for students. So, enrollment process. I know I spoke a lot about the programs offered at SUNY, but let's talk about the enrollment process. Major, right? Your major application process, which application you're going to use, the financial impact of the school, and then declaring your intent to enroll, and your registration and whatnot. So, searching for majors. Your student or students who are here may not know what they want to do. That's perfectly fine. Neither do I. But one thing we have here at SUNY, and take a picture of this website, it's a great thing. We have a website here that allows you to pretty much search up a keyword, any thought. I mentioned how in the beginning of unlimited possibilities of learning more study. If you're good at public speaking, if you're good at healthcare, if you want to do nursing, if you want to do working with animals, for example, you can put that in our major website, search for the major website, a keyword, whatever it is, it'll bring up all the degree programs that may resemble something like that at our system. So for example, healthcare is pretty general, I put in healthcare. They brought in all the programs that may be resemblance to healthcare at our city system. So it brought up the same broad part for healthcare administration. You can even click further and it'll give you a brief description of where students are, what the program entails, and what students should expect when majoring in the broad part for healthcare. So you can do this for entrepreneurship, for business, right? You can do this for public speaking, human development, whatever it may be. So application process. I want everyone to take a picture of this again. So someone earlier asked when we're going to have free application. Not me, though, not me. October 21st and November 3rd, we're having a free application week. You get up to 5 free applications to SUNY, to apply to SUNY. And I want to highlight that you can use those either at the Common App or apply to SUNY. We don't have any preference of which one to use, so if your student is more comfortable with the Common App, feel free to let them use the Common App. If they're more comfortable with the SUNY app, feel free to let them use the SUNY app. We are not judging which one to use, but I will. All right, so SAT and ACT testing. We're not requiring it if you don't want to say. So deep breath, let's trust your student, let's trust you, let's grace, right? So we're not requiring it. What does this mean? If you don't want to take the SAT, you don't want to submit your SAT score, that's fine. We're test optional. I will say, if you want to submit, if your child has a high SAT score, I do encourage them to submit that because they may be eligible for merit-based scholarships. At University of Albany, for example, if you have a high score, you're able to get around up to $1,500 extra towards merit-based scholarships, so something like that. I want to highlight this. I know I mentioned the affordability, the opportunity and flexibility the SUNY offers. Let's say a student wants to get into the SUNY system somehow, somewhere. Well, with SUNY Match, we have this in our application process where if a student enrolls in SUNY Match, basically what it does, it allows them guaranteed entry into some sort of SUNY school if all their choices are denied. How it works is, let's say I'm a student, I'm applying to Farmingdale or Westbury and University of Buffalo. If I get denied from all my colleges, all my SUNY colleges of choice, SUNY Match will kick in and it'll match me with 4 other schools with guaranteed entry, with no other application. That means that as long as not as long, but if you get denied from all your colleges of choice, you're guaranteed entry somewhere in the system. And the 4 colleges that they recommend with guaranteed entry are going to 3 4-year institutions and 1 community college. These are based off of distance, program, and other expertise to do the application process. So financial planning, I'm not going to get too much into financial planning because the amazing tool that is going to take care and go over that with you guys, the fast and top. But just a little graph to show you guys how much possible money students have been making with the higher education. The best thing about SUNY is that we are very affordable, right? Little over half of our students graduate with those on debt. I'm one of those students, thank God. So if your student is scared of the debt, scared of money like that, feel free to send them to SUNY. They won't be bucket loads of debt. So this is the cost of our attendance at our schools. $7,070 is the tuition at all of our 64 campuses. That's it. So whether you're going to Potsdam, basically Canada, you're going to Buffalo, even if it's Ohio or something local, the tuition here, your tuition is going to be $7,070. Room and board is easy to vary across our campuses, whether or not they're going to commuters, so keep that in mind. The indirect costs are not going to be on the tuition bill. They're just something we think we may incur during the 4 years. At our community colleges, they're going to be a little cheaper at 5,400 bucks. Again, all of our community colleges, same price. The 30 community college will be 5,400. The $1,000 fees is an average. Not all community colleges offer room and board. So, for example, our Suffolk obviously doesn't offer room and board, so that won't be on the bill. But same thing with indirect costs. So something to keep in mind. So, searching for financial assistance. I want you to just take a picture of this website. Also, SUNY Smart Track. I know Sharon said you can do the loan process that has changed since when we went to school. I'm not a parent, so I don't know why I say we. But since Sharon's interested in understanding the loan process, we have a tool that helps you understand and we give it to you stress-free, so you're not stressing about the loans you're going to incur. Also, talk about the tax credits and work that are available that you may contribute to for your students for financial eligible, if you're financially eligible. So what's next, right? You applied to your school, you did your financial aid, you did all that stuff. What's next? I highly recommend you reach out to the academic counselor, reach out to the admissions counselor, reach out to the department. If there's two students who have the same exact GPA, same exact record, everything, but one student seems to care more, they may take that student because they care a little more, right? Not to say they won't take other students, but it's good to show your face, it's good to network, especially going to athletic program. Anyone can be a great athlete if they try. Who's going to be a passionate athlete, right? Reach out to those athletic directors, reaching out to those program heads and say, I'm really interested in this. Can you connect me further outside of the school, right? Maybe they can connect you to something local. Maybe they're a graduate of high school, for example. So just something to look at. Visiting a campus. I mentioned we are 64 individual public college campuses all across New York State. A student might like the educational program offered at Buffalo, but they might not like the 10,000 feet of snow. Right? Maybe they like being close to mom and dad, and they're like, wow, you guys are crazy, I need to go away. So visit campus, right? You guys need to visit campus. I highly encourage you guys to visit campus. If you can't visit campus, bring the campus to you. They can do virtual visits, they can do one-on-one counseling with you guys, so you can understand what life is like at our colleges. Students, honestly, I learned before I went to the University of Albany, I've been stuck at Old West Side. So, you know, once I went to Albany, I was like, I want to challenge myself. I want to challenge myself to live my life. And that's what I did. You know, I graduated from the University of Albany. And it was beautiful campus. It's a giant cinder block, but it's gorgeous. So, May 1st, keep this in mind. You want to make sure all your stuff is declared by May 1st. Make sure you're going to San Antonio College by May 1st. Keep this deadline in mind. Certain programs have different deadlines depending on the college, all depends on the specific program that, for example, you go to rehearsal or instrument or sport. Keep that in mind. But just like your deadline, you should keep it in the back of your head, on calendar somewhere on the bridge so that your students all prepared. But that's pretty much the SUNY system here. I'll be able to answer any questions. Oh, I lied. So, this QR code is for more information. I know you're general overview of the system itself. If you know you want to go to college, take a picture of this QR code and make a request for information. Fill out that inquiry form and make a request for information directly from the school. But other than that, I would like 3, 2, 1. Any questions? Comments? Is that first time speaking to parents? Question? Yeah.
So we have early action.
Yes, so certain schools have, not all schools have early action, but when they submit early action, it just means that they'll be able to, sorry, early action, no. Certain schools do offer, not all schools, so there's early action decision and whatnot. Early decision just means you'll get the decision back earlier. Early action is meaning you're going to commit to it, right? Oh, it's this. Okay. Yeah. Certain schools, yeah.
Does that help members still too?
It depends on program, because school will say one thing, and then the person will program. So definitely do research on the system program.
The only real difference between the early action and the early decision is that with the early decision, you do need to go to that.
Yeah, you're committed to that sport contract.
Yeah, but early action, you're not.
No, you just get the,
So
you
you
get
just
the
put your
decision.
decision earlier and have more time, but that doesn't mean you're gonna get a financial aid offer
Okay.
earlier.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, that's fine.
With the current lack of requirement of SATs and ACTs, is that like a new thing? Is that something that's been around a
It's
while?
been around for at least 1 to 2 years. Yeah, it's been around. Yeah, it's the pandemic. It's been around. Basically, level playing field. I don't know if you can for example. But if you want to see, you're more than welcome to, right? You can have
A couple years ago.
Would you mind just repeating repeating the question so people at home can hear the
Oh,
question.
I'm so sorry.
Yes,
Sorry.
yes.
The question was for people on the wonderful live stream. Well, SAT, so when was that drop? When was the requirement drop? Pandemic, to allow students to be more equitable, so that students who are back, I think there's not good expectations, love to thank you for them. But if not, you don't have to submit, just what we encourage you to make that change, just to make all of them that scholarship. You also do super scores. Some schools like that super scores, I know that SAT between math and English. If you have two good English scores, you can two SATs, you can match that, and then allow them to have a grade.
Besides the merit scholarships, there may be other scholarships that sometimes also require the SAT besides the SUNY merit scholarship.
So the merit scholarship, we need maybe those cases.
It depends. It depends. So, for example, if you submit your SAT score, they'll give you, if you get a certain grade, they'll give you that scholarship. So reach out to the academic people who handle scholarships at each campus, because it's the basis to get those merit scholarships. It might just be GPA, it might include GPA and SAT, but definitely do research on that. Any other questions? I know you're going to hear about money costs, so. Is that it? No, I'll pass over to the amazing champion for tonight.
Joshua, can I just? Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Okay. So here we go. There's some stuff we're gonna skip over here because Joshua already covered it, right? But by the way, I make sure that, I'll make sure to give my contact information before you leave tonight. That way you all have it. But most importantly, what I want to let you know is that we have a series of events going on throughout the entire fall semester, spring semester, where you can learn a little bit more, right? We have how to fill out the financial aid application, how to get an FSAID, what we need to do prepare to fill out your financial aid application, and also on how to apply for a SUNY school or how to find a SUNY school that's the right fit. So we have a series of workshops, they change periodically. Some of the workshops are in person, most of them are online, but you should definitely sign up. I'm going to try to say everything I need to say in about a half an hour, but remember these presentations can be about an hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on how many questions there are. So, here we go now. What are we going to cover today? This is what we're going to cover. These are the topics. College costs, how financial need is determined. We're going to review different sources and types of aid, but not an exhaustive list. It's not everything that's out there. It's just the major sources of aid. And then I'm going to tell you what you should need to know in order to prepare for the Nelson Awesome when it comes out, which supposedly it should come out December 1st, 2024, okay? And so some vocabulary that you're going to need to know, which is contributors, FSAIDs, and consent forms. So we're going to go over all of these things. And this is the college cost. That long bar on the bottom that you see there is how much it costs for a student to attend a private school 1 year. And that's about $60,000, okay? The one above it is how much it costs for a student to attend a public institution that has a state, right? So let's say you're New York State resident and you want to go and stay at one of our neighboring states, Connecticut, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. That is going to come in at about a cost of $46,000 a year. And then the one above it is how much does it cost for students to attend a college within their own state. And that's about $28,000 a year. And the one above it is a 2-year school, right? Which is about $19,000 a year. So you see that there are very, very different costs depending on the type of school you're going to. What's included in these costs, okay? It's called cost of attendance because everything a student needs to go to school for a year is included in that number. So we have tuition and fees, room and board, which now we're calling housing and meals, books and supplies, transportation, miscellaneous personal expenses. So at SUNY, if you add all of this up, it really comes out to about that $28,000. So we're in that national ballpark. The really lucky thing about being in the state of New York is our actual in-state tuition is actually a lot lower than many other state schools. Our biggest cost here is in that housing and meals, right? But we have student schools all over the place that if you want to save money, right, you can always go to a school close to home. That's going to be where your biggest savings is, okay? All right, so let's go on for the cost of attendance, and I also want you to view, right? $70,070 is what you're paying for being a New York State resident. That same tuition, if you're a non-New York State resident, right? So if you're in New Jersey and you want to come study here, it's going to be $17,600. You're getting a significant savings just for being a New York State resident. Community college. Tuition is even lower, $5,400, okay? Same thing for out-of-state residents, it's $9,400. There's a little bit savings in the housing and meals also with the, which is room and board. So I just want to let you know the requirements for in-state tuition, okay? As long as you went to a New York State high school for 2 or more years and graduate, or get a GED from the state of New York, you will be considered a New York State resident. Students are considered residents of where their parents live. Many times, parents are like, I'm waiting for my child to graduate from high school, they're waiting to move out of New York. And so you will continue, the student will continue to get in-state tuition. Even if the parent moves out of New York, they will be considered a New York State resident because they graduated from a New York State high school. So now, how is financial need determined? How does each school come up with a financial aid package to give to students? They look at that cost of attendance, which we saw earlier, right? And that cost of attendance, you saw 4 different costs of attendance today, and there are many more, right? You saw the private school that was $60,000, the out-of-state school about $46,000, in-state tuition in-state school about $28,000, minus the student aid index, right? The student aid index, where is this number coming from? It's coming from when you fill out your the pre-application for federal student aid. What it gives you is a student aid index, and the colleges use that number and they subtract it from the cost of attendance and they come up with the family's financial needs. They're going to try to give you a financial aid package to cover that need. Will it be covered 100%? Well, some students do get it covered 100%, but not the majority. The reality is that most, on average, students get a financial aid package to cover 1/3 of their costs. So now we're going to review different sources of aid, right? Because financial aid doesn't come from a single source. That's why they call it a financial aid package, because it comes from a variety of sources. So you have your grants, you have your loans, you have the scholarships, which are the greatest source of aid, okay? And these normally come from the institution themselves or from private sources, okay? For SUNY, you're very fortunate in the sense that when you do apply to SUNY school, we don't have a SUNY scholarship, but each individual campus has its own institutional grant. And for that first year of college, it's based on merit mostly, right? But when you apply, if they feel that you're going to be eligible for any of those campus-based aids that they have at their school, they're going to let you know if there's any additional steps that you need to take. Once you are a student, depending on a major, you may have to do additional work to dig a little further to find additional scholarships, which you will be able to find. But for that first year, it will be a little easier. The process of the college will let you know. The other source of aid that we have, so we have scholarships and grants or money that's free money. You don't have to pay that back. most of the time. Loans, you do have to pay back, but that's another great source of aid. 25% of aid is coming from student loans, right? So if 25% of aid is coming from student loans, it's very likely, especially if you're living on campus, that a big portion of your financial aid package is going to come via student loans. The other sources of work study is a resource of aid, right? And work study, we're going to talk about what that is. But the other sources of aid are also tax benefits that you may get, or you may be getting assistance from your employer. Okay? So many employers give scholarships to children of their employees. If you belong to a union, it's very likely that there's scholarship dollars. I suggest that you check with your human resources department to check if there's scholarship money. All right, so let's move on and see where you can get scholarships from. That's, you can get it from the college itself. Those are the institutional grants, from private sources, from community organizations. Here are some websites that you can use in order to look for to do a scholarship search. Normally, when you're doing these scholarship searches, they are search engines, and what you need to do is you create a profile for yourself. Something is like when you're looking for a job, right? You create a profile for yourself. And anytime there's a scholarship that matches your interest, you will receive an email, and you decide whether or not you want to apply for that scholarship or not. The more time you take in making your profile, the better the matches you're going to get. All of these are free, okay? All of these are free, and there are many, many more search engines out there besides the ones that I posted there. Just know that anytime that you're using a search engine, you should never have to provide your social security number nor credit card information. All of these are free. What they're using is your contact information, your email, to then later on send you a bunch of free advertisements. Okay, so now we're going to review the major sources of aid. So when you fill out the pre-application for federal student aid, aka the FAFSA, right, what you're going to get is that student aid index, so you should watch out for that. The other thing that you're also going to tell you whether or not you're getting a Pell Grant. Pell Grant is really for lower income families. If you're a family probably making over $90,000, it's very unlikely that you're going to get a Pell Grant, right? But the maximum Pell Grant you can get is $7,395. Then we have New York State tuition program, which is called TAP. And the maximum you can get for TAP is $5,665. This is dependent on your New York State taxable income, but if you're getting over $125,000 a year, it's very unlikely that you will get a TAP grant as well. Excelsior Scholarship. Many people have called this free tuition, but it is not free tuition. It is a scholarship. You do need to apply for it. You need to be eligible for it, and you need to maintain your eligibility in order for you to continue to get it. What will it cover? It will cover your tuition only at a public institution. So at SUNY or at SUNY, you're very fortunate that you have two very, very large public institutions within the state of New York. Okay? So it'll cover the tuition, but it's only covering the tuition. And it's what's known as a last dollar scholarship, meaning any other aid you're getting needs to go to cover your tuition first before the Excelsior Scholarship will kick in, right? What is the eligibility requirement for this? You need to be a New York State resident or be eligible to apply via the New York Dream Act, and your income, your adjusted gross income. You're going into the year 2025, right? Students are graduating from here during 2025, so they're going to be looking at their 2023 income. So their adjusted gross income needs to be $125,000 or less in order for you to be eligible. In order for the student to maintain their eligibility, they need to accumulate 30 credits per year. How else can you be eligible? If you're eligible for the New York Dream Act, this is not additional aid, it's just another application for you to apply for New York State aid. Again, if parents decide to move out of the state of New York, their child stays living in the state of New York, they will still be eligible for in-state tuition and in-state aid via the New York Dream Act. So other types of aid are work study, right? So work study is a grant that you get, but in order for you to receive it, you have to work at college about 10 to 15, 20 hours a week, and you will get a paycheck for your hours worked until you get the amount of your grant. So let's say your grant is for $2,000. You're not going to get a check in the mail for $2,000, nor are you going to get a discount on your tuition. What you're going to get is instruction, how you get a work study job at the campus. And once you start working, they're going to pay you for your hours worked until you get your final $2,000. Okay? This is a great opportunity because the student gets experience while they're studying, but also this number is not counted as income the following year when you fill out your FAFSA. So now I'm going to talk to you about student loans. Okay, so we have two types of student loans, but before I tell you the difference, I'm going to tell you how they are similar. And the reason I laugh there is because this is a brand new presentation and they took off my interest rate there. So, but I think I remember it. So let's say the interest rate is the same. It is a fixed interest rate, but it changes every July 1st, okay? The current interest rate for this year, I believe, was 6.53%. It was pretty high. But you're very fortunate because interest rates did go, that they just reduced interest rates just a few days ago. So when you go in they're going to change that interest rate July 1st, 2025, and there will be a new interest rate, right? The interest rate can never be any higher than 8.5%, okay? What's the difference between the subsidized and the unsubsidized? First of all, before I tell you the difference, these two loans are guaranteed, okay? These loans go in the student's name. All the student needs to do in order to be eligible for this loan is to fill out a FAFSA and be enrolled in a program that's going to grant them a degree. How are they different? So for the subsidized student, it is based on need, meaning they're looking at that student aid index in order to determine whether or not the student is going to get this. The federal government pays the interest rate while the student is in college. So if the student borrows $3,500, which is the maximum subsidized student loan they can receive, if the student borrows that in September 2025, right? They borrowed $3,500 4 years later, so now we're in 2029, right? June 2029, student is graduating. They still owe $3,500. 6 months later, so now we're in December 2029. Student still owes $3,500, but now interest starts to accumulate on this loan, and the first payment will be due. If the student pays off that loan, that's $3,500 before that December 2029, they've never paid a penny in interest. Unsubsidized student loan. It really doesn't matter how high the student aid index, you can still request the unsubsidized student loan. But interest starts accruing on this loan from the moment the money is disbursed to the student. So after year one, in that same scenario, the student's going to owe $3,500 plus whatever the interest rate is at that moment, right? When they took out the student loan. Let's say it's at 6.5% that's currently right now, let's just say that. So let's say that's about $200. So after their freshman year, now they're going to owe $3,700 plus the 6.5% in interest. You can always choose to pay the interest while the student is in school. The student can do that as well as a form of savings, but you're not obligated to make any payments on this loan until the student graduates and 6 months after. So, another thing that you should know, right, in case parents want to take out a plus loan, right? The plus loan goes in the parent's name, not the student's name. It is the parent's responsibility to pay that back. It has a low interest rate, not as low as the student loan, okay? This year it was 9%, but remember that interest rates went down in general, so it's going to go down as well. But the interest rate is fixed for the life of the loan. The parent can request the entire cost of attendance minus any aid that was given to the student. Okay? So the parent has that option, and the other option that parents have in order to pay for tuition and room and board or meals and housing and meals, right? The new name for it. Housing and meals is that you can pay it through installments. There's no interest rate on the installments, but the schools do offer installments, and installments vary depending on what campus you're going to, but there's 3 installments per semester, 4 installments per semester, up to 5, okay? But you should know that because there's no interest rate. So now, when you're filling out the FAFSA, the pre-application for federal student aid, one thing that you're going to need to know is who are the contributors, right? And this will be dependent on how you're answering the questions on the FAFSA. But a little cheat sheet for you, okay? All students are considered dependents of their parents that are 24 years or younger, okay? So they're going to have to, a contributor will be the students themselves and the parents, okay? At least one parent. So that is who is going to be considered a contributor. What the student is going to need in order to provide the parent, the contributor. So the student fills out their portion of the FAFSA, and then they invite their parents to come and fill out their portion of the FAFSA. In order for the student to invite their parents to fill out their portion, they're going to need to know their parents' first and last name, their social security number, their birthday, and their email address. If the parent doesn't have a social security number, they can just check a box that says the parent doesn't have a social security number. So all contributors must create an FSA ID, okay? So what is an FSA ID? It's an account username and password that the student and the parent create. In order to get an FSA ID, you need to go to studentaid.gov. It takes 3 days for your student aid account to be verified with the Social Security Administration office. So what they do is they're going to make sure that your name matches your Social Security number. So remember that when you want to fill out the FAFSA, both the student and at least one parent is going to need an FSA ID in order to complete this. So you need to have requested these FSA IDs at least 3 days before. So that's studentaid.gov, where you get your FSA ID. That's what it looks like when you go there and create an account. And in case you don't have a social security number, you can fill that out too. You just click on the box that says the parent doesn't have a social security number. For parents without a social security number, they're going to need to verify their identity afterwards, right? They don't have to wait for a match because there's no social security number. But afterwards, after filling out the FAFSA, they're going to need to identify who they say they are. Finally, the consent form, okay? So the wonderful thing with the FAFSA The FAFSA prior to 2024, 2025 used to be over 100 questions, right? Now we have reduced it to 38 questions. So there's been a significant reduction to the FAFSA. But what they have done in order to reduce it is that now they're saying in order for you to fill out this form, you need to provide the IRS permission to share your information directly with the pre-application for federal student aid to fill out your financial questions. So you need to provide consent, okay? If you do not provide consent, your child, the student, will not be eligible for financial aid. So the parent needs to provide consent and the student needs to provide consent in order to fill out the financial aid application. So that is it for now. Do you have any questions? No, you don't. That is an excellent question. I'm going to repeat that question. So the question here is, I already have an FSA ID. Do I need to create a new one? And the answer to that is no. Once you have an FSA ID, it is yours for life. It is attached to your social security number. So you can reuse that. If you were in school yourself, if you had another child that went to college, and if you had another child that went to college prior to 2024, you're probably going to be surprised when you see this FAFSA because you're going to be expecting a lot more questions than what's actually going to be asked. Okay? Correct.
What if you make you slightly over 27? Is it like a hard and fast?
It is a hard number, okay? So it is based on your adjusted gross income. Adjusted gross income is some write-offs that you can do to make that adjusted gross income a little lower, but you have to do that previously, right? So you're using 2023 taxes. At this point, right, if you do qualify, you can qualify, you may be eligible later on, but you won't be eligible for that question year if you're doing it on 2023. There is that little. They didn't say that. That rumor has been going on since the pandemic came along. They said they were going to increase it. The governor was all for that, but then the pandemic came and New York didn't have money. So I don't know if it's going to be increased or not, but hopefully it will be increased, right? Yes, there's a question there in the back.
So are they looking at both parents? They're looking at tax return.
Okay, so the question in the back there was, are they looking at both parents' tax returns? If the parents are married, yes, they're looking at both parents' tax returns. If they're married and living together, yes. The answer to that is yes. Whether they're doing it jointly, whether they're filing jointly or separately. If they're filing jointly, only one parent needs to be the contributor. If they're filing separately, both parents are going to need FSA ID and are going to have to provide consent individually to allow the IRS to share their information. Okay?
And then, do they look at anything with the child's accounts?
If the child is working, the child is also giving consent. If you're saying with regards to bank account, yes, they do look at the parents. So they do ask about your assets.
No, the child's assets.
They do ask about the child assets. They ask about the child assets. Okay, so they ask about the child assets, about the child investment, and about the value of his business.
And that's going
And the
to
tax return. And the tax. Here's something that I would like to tell you though, okay? Here's something that I would like to tell you that sometimes parents, I think are not aware of. Sometimes I've seen a lot of students here, especially in the New York City area, working and making a lot of money for high school students, okay? Making significant amounts of money that will make a difference when they fill out their financial aid. When you're filling it out, the government is calculating that the student is working, whether or not they're working, but is making $2,000. I've seen students come with tax returns making $10,000, $12,000, okay? That is going to make a significant difference. If a student is making that amount of money, and when they start going to college, they're not going to be locally at home and making that money anymore. They need to ask for an adjustment on it in order for them to take out that income. Remember that you're filling out this information with 2023 tax information, right? If your income goes up, do not call school and tell them that, because they're gonna make that adjustment the following year, whatever that is. But if your income went down, there's no way for them to know it, right? So then you need to contact the school directly for them to do an income adjustment on that. That way they can reduce your student aid index. Okay? That's the only way they can reduce your student aid index, if they do an adjustment on that. So maybe there were 2 people working in the household, now there's only 1, maybe you lost your job, whatever it may be that made your income go lower, you need to let the school know about it. And for students that may have been working while they were in high school, but are not going to work anymore because they're far away in college, they need to make that adjustment as well. Okay, so we have 1 or 2 questions more. If there's a divorce involved, right, the student needs to put in the information of the parent, of only one parent, and the parent that is providing them the most financial support. But they allow the student to make that information. Okay, no one's going to verify who's giving the most financial support. They're going to allow the student to make a determination of which parent is providing the most financial support. If that divorced parent, however, has remarried, now it's parent and step-parent that need to fill out the box.
Take that into account. If I recommend plus one, the second one.
No, so they won't tell you you can take out less of a plus loan because you already have a plus loan out, okay? The plus loan doesn't take into consideration your income to debt ratio or anything else. You're gonna get a mortgage for a house, you're gonna get a car loan. They're looking at your income to debt ratio. Can this person pay for this? For this plus loan, they only look at if you have negative credit history. Right? Have you not making it on that loan? That's what they're going to look at. I don't know, we don't have, okay.
All right, it's okay.
I just want to say thank you so much for the speakers that came out here today. I do want to let everybody know here and everybody online that we are going to have another financial aid night where somebody's going to come back in, go over a lot of this stuff again, and be able to answer any questions that you might have later in October. So we will definitely have time for more questions again. There was contact information given out. I believe you can always take a picture of the stuff that's left on the screen. Reach out in free time. I know that there's people in your high school respectively that you could reach out to for some more help and resources there as well. But again, on behalf of us here at CHM and for the speakers here today too, we thank you all for coming here in attendance and for joining us.